We're here at New Freedom, Pennsylvania, and we're going to be boarding the New Freedom to Brillhart Station bike aboard train on the Northern Central Railway. We're actually here a couple days early to buy our tickets. The train trip is 16 miles one way, and we'll bike northbound, but that is actually a downhill trip for the bikers, so guess why we chose to do it that way. The trail runs along the side of the railroad tracks all the way up the valley, and we will pass through a tunnel, the Howard Tunnel, shortly before arriving at Brillhart Station. While the Northern Central Railway is noted for its steam engine, that engine's not running this season, at least not until late fall, because it's out of maintenance. It's out of service for an annual, actually a 5-year inspection, which will take most of the year. There's limited on-street parking near the station. While this trail that we're going to be riding on for the bike aboard goes from New Freedom to York, and it's called the Heritage Rail Trail County Park. It also continues on south into Maryland, and we'll go to Baltimore if you want to keep riding. We're here in New Freedom. It's just after 9, and we're gonna start our bike ride to meet the train. There's the train waiting. It won't leave for a bit now, and but we'll head on out ahead of it so we have plenty of time to make our run, 16 miles. The train has 4 passenger cars, an open-air car for the bikes, a caboose, and a diesel engine. The last car is the D. Reed Anderson car, which is a combined car, meaning it originally accommodated baggage along with passengers. This has the fewest seats of the passenger cars. Next is the Abraham Lincoln car, honoring the president that rode these rails to Gettysburg for his famous address, and then again as his body moved west for burial in Illinois. This car has been refurbished to reflect an 1870s Victorian-era motif. The next car is the New Freedom car. This will be our car on the train. This reflects the decor of a standard passenger car of the 1860s, which, like the Abraham Lincoln car, has plush seats that can be reversed to face the direction of travel. The last passenger car is the South Branch car, which is an 1860s-era open-air coach, having seats that face outward toward each side. Contributors to the Northern Central Railway have the option of sponsoring a tie, and to do that they are given a plaque on the tie with their donor information on it.
So the train awaits the train ride. We're up at the New Freedom Station, a little lending library, some very cute benches to sit on. You actually see they got amenities for handicapped to get them into the train. And then we've got the station. Restrooms at the far end. Trail going north, it goes downhill, which is why we're riding that way to go meet the bike train and some other additional cars. Got a nice little place to stay by the park, and then there's some benches here, parking, and you're in a pretty nice little neighborhood. Once you come out of the park, if you want to know where you're going, there's a nice trail map. We're at the new Freedom Station. Also bicycle repair. And then we're going to head north, downhill. Here we are at Railroad Park. Nice little stream going under the tracks. There's benches that we've passed multiple times throughout our path, and the folks have little statues and things put out. This is a park for children.
We're at this intersection where there's historic inn, which is now a bed and breakfast, and restaurant, and this crossroads as we're just north, about 1.5 miles north of New Freedom.
Here's a little story about how they went about building the railway. Started in Baltimore. Actually, earlier today, I'd met a couple bikers, asked them if they had biked up from Baltimore, and they said yes, they're getting ready for a long run. But this trail does go all the way to Baltimore, and they rode it to prove it. They're definitely in good shape in order to make that trip.
So along the trail, there's some significant rock and rock features, and this interpretive sign is explaining that they found their way across the stream bed for the trains so that it was relatively flat. With little grade, which is what a train needs to make its way north. Our next stop is Sightsland, where there is I don't know if it's currently in business, but a general merchandise store, which is wonderfully restored. And there's also a bed and breakfast nearby, or Airbnb, excuse me. Along the way, you'll see these W signs, and those were for the original trains to indicate they need to blow their whistle because they're about to pass a crossing.
We're a little early, but the Rail Trail Tavern looks like a good place to stop.
About 5 miles north of New Freedom is Glen Rock, and there are a few things along the trail. There's a market which sells coffee, and a pizza place just across the street. We're a little past the halfway point, and we're approaching Hanover Junction, which was a cold stop along the way when they needed to fire up the steam engines. So I don't know that any of that infrastructure is left, but there's a sign here explaining how it all worked. Apparently, what I didn't know is that they had to put sand on the tracks to allow the smooth wheels to get traction, to get rolling once they'd stopped. We're in the small town of Hanover Junction. There's a restored railroad station, and it has some significance as a Civil War location.
Back in 1863, the Confederates came to Hanover Junction, and they burned a lot of the railroad equipment so that it would not be usable by the Northerns. Hanover Junction was a vital crossroads from Baltimore to either Hanover or to York. Certainly the main line being in the direction of Hanover.
The rail station has restrooms, a museum, and a place to refill water. There's bicycle parking here at Hanover Junction, and when the station restrooms are closed, there's a porta potty. This is a town after our own heart. This is where commercial ice cream production began. What a wonderful town.
Just a little ways beyond Hanover Junction is the Four Springs Winery. Not open this early in the day, but probably a nice place to stop. I imagine they would do a tasting or sit out under the umbrella with a glass of wine.
So this is the town of Seven Valleys, the birthplace of commercial ice cream, and there's a tavern in town, the winery, and it's a small church. So at Seven Valleys, we're at the 10-mile mark, so we have 6 miles to go. We've been taking it pretty slow as we take pictures along the way and see what there is to see. And we're at about 11 o'clock, so the train should just about now be leaving New Freedom. So these are rail cars that you can ride open air to take a trip on the rails. So we're pretty sure they're moving the rail cars off the line so that the excursion train can ride through. We just passed a switch, so there's a siding that we're guessing the cars are going to go onto. So we're headed to Brillhart Station, and we just passed Glatfelter Station, both of which now have parking lots and access to the rail trail. But in the day, they were stations along this railroad that provided access to the rails for both food and passengers, or produce and material and passengers. So we're approaching Howard Tunnel, which is where the train line leaves the creek and tunnels through the hill in order to make its way north to York. We've made it to Brillhart Station. It's just a parking lot with a few picnic tables. A little confusion because it's not as well marked as we would have hoped, but you can see there are a number of bikers coming off the trail, and some of them are going to get on board the train.
This is the Brillhart Station parking lot, but there's nothing along the rail line that would show you, oh, this is where the train's going to stop and a platform and load. So a whole bunch of us are just hanging out here, figuring we'll see the train show up. One person says he's done it before, and this is the spot to wait.
So our trip started in New Freedom by bike, and we rode up the 16 miles past Glen Rock, Hanover Junction, past Seven Valleys, and then through the Howard Tunnel there, and onto Brillhart Station, which is where we are now. The trains go on to York, or the tracks go on to York, but we're going to stop at Brillhart Station, which I can't find. Here we go. And then we're going to take the train back. So here comes the train. It's actually coming backwards, and yeah, the engine's at the far end. And it's, I don't know, about 20 minutes late. But we've been able to stand in the shade, and looking forward to the train ride back. So there's no gangplank. They load the bikes up. They lift them up into the car, in the open car that's been refurbished for this purpose. At Brillhart Station, we received the train ticket for the ride back. So they've got a crew to load them all on and position them. This is the South Branch car. You can see how the seats are facing outward, and it's an open air car.
This is New Freedom. Okay, thank you.
This is New Freedom. This is our car. This is the Lincoln car. And just behind the engine is the Reed Anderson car. The cars all have coal heat with the stoves in the corner, but the air conditioning is all Mother Nature. Doris Creek, that the train follows much of the way north.
Actually, it came through with complimentary snacks. How do you like that?
Back in New Freedom. It's after 3, but we've had a good day, and now we got to get our bikes off. So we've retrieved our bikes. We're ready to get back on the road, and it's actually just 3 o'clock now. I thought it was a little after, but we've had a very successful ride, and both on the bikes and on the train here in New Freedom. At the end of our long ride, we had just enough energy to bike a block over to Bonky's for some celebratory ice cream.